Thank you, Stoveminders, for minding the stove, because that thing's hot. The MLB offseason has really hit a stride. Moves are happening daily, and I said moves in the plural because a lot's been going on. Every morning I wake up and I check the old trade rumors, and things are popping off. Great stuff, but it's hard to keep up, so let's get to it. Starting off with a 3-team, 7-player deal that went down yesterday concerning the San Diego Padres, the New York Mets, and the Pittsburgh Pirates. So, here's what happened. The Pirates send right-handed pitcher Joe Musgrove to the Padres, and then San Diego sends left-handed pitcher Joey Lucchesi to the Mets, and then the Pirates receive five prospects, 4 from San Diego and 1 from New York. Huge haul here. Let's talk about the centerpiece first. That is Joe Musgrove, a man who was one of the top trade candidates on a sinking Pirates ship, and he gets to now pitch for his favorite team growing up. Very cool. And he'll get to join a rotation that recently welcomed Yu Darvish and Blake Snell, and also includes, of course, Dinelson Lamet and Chris Paddock, and not in 2020, but in the near future, also Mike Clevenger. I would put Musgrove number 4 in that group for next year, but that's not a knock on him. An incredible group that general manager A.J. Preller has managed to put together. Let's talk about him, okay? In 5 seasons in the big leagues, Musgrove has managed a .433 ERA, a bit below average, but a FIP of .390 and low walk totals are something you gotta like. He's coming off a good year, too, arguably his best, as short as 2020 was. It was his first with a positive ERA+, and Musgrove struck out 55 batters in 39-plus innings. Great stuff. The 28-year-old has 2 more years of team control, earning $4.45 million, about $4.5 million in 2021. A nice depth move for a Pirates team that does have some big injury questions in that talented rotation. But what they gave up here for Musgrove, who's essentially a mid-rotation starter, like at best a number 3 guy. I know he was higher than the Pirates, but that's not a good team. A mid-rotation starter who hasn't really hit that high ceiling at any point is astonishing, especially given the value at which Preller was able to get elite arms in Darvish and Snell. I understand he may have given up more for Darvish in terms of personnel, including major league personnel, Zach Davies, and I understand some of the high-ranking prospects that went, like Luis Patino, who went to the Rays in that Blake Snell deal. But yeah, they gave up 5 players here. Lucchesi is basically, that's almost like a 1-for-1 there, because he like Musgrove, will be got a back of the rotation arm there, and then 4 prospects going to the Pirates. Jeez. Okay, let's talk about Lucchesi, because he's going to the Mets now. He's a 27-year-old lefty with 4 years left under contract, and he'll help the Mets fill out their rotation, which also, like the Padres, is up there as far as some of the best in baseball. Talking Jacob deGrom, Marcus Stroman, Carlos Carrasco, and they'll get Noah Syndergaard back at some point. I think April is what he's supposed to be clear to resume. He had some surgery recently, so we may not see him till a little bit later, but he's there. And this guy got David Peterson, and Steven Matz in the mix as well. Fairly deep, but with all the health concerns that you can imagine. Well, Lucchesi has been about average overall in 3 seasons. The kind of guy you expect to be a quote-unquote depth piece. And all the Mets lost in this trade was 1 prospect. So to get a guy there, and again, 4 years left under contract for a team that's, got all these pitchers with question marks around them, not just, injuries, but where are these guys going to be in a couple years? Yeah, nice to get. And they only gave up 1 prospect in this trade, and that is Endy Rodriguez, a 20-year-old Dominican who plays catcher, first base, and outfield. He was ranked 14th in the Mets system and now slots in number 20 in the Pirates prospect rankings. Rodriguez has played as high as rookie ball. Intriguing but raw. And that's all the Mets had to give up to get an adequate, controllable back of the rotation arm in Lucchesi. Wow. In contrast, in order to acquire Musgrove, the Padres said goodbye to 4 prospects, all going to the Pirates along with Andy Rodriguez. Those gentlemen are right-handed pitcher Drake Fellows, 22-year-old outside of the Padres' top 30. He was drafted out of Vanderbilt in 2019, but didn't pitch at all last season. Right-handed pitcher David Bednar, who was 20th in the Padres prospect rankings, is at the bottom of the top 30 for the Pirates. He's 26 years old and already graduated with 17-plus innings of relief in the majors. Numbers are not good, but he gets to play in the city of his birth, Pittsburgh. Yeah, that's cool. Then you got Omar Cruz, a left-handed pitcher. He was ranked 17th for the Padres, 18th for the Pirates. 21-year-old, played as high as Class A advanced. And then the centerpiece in this prospect haul is an outfielder named Hudson Head. Hudson Head. He was number 7 for the Padres, number 8 for the Pirates. He's just 19 years old. He was drafted in the 3rd round of the 2019 draft out of a San Antonio, Texas high school. Head is ultra athletic. He's toolsy. He has a very high ceiling, but a long way to go for the left-handed hitter. A big league ETA of 2023, which I guess is just 2 years from now. So, yeah, they're expecting this guy to break into the majors at the age of 21. That's bullish. And then some of these other guys like Cruz and Fellows also have big league ETAs a few years from now. But the Pirates are kicking into a rebuild. This is exactly who you're going to get, right? And there's talk that Hudson Head, although he's not in the top 100 prospects right now, has the stuff necessary to get in there. Yeah, a massive haul for a Pirates system that ranked in the middle of the pack before during the 2020 season. It'll be interesting to see MLB Pipeline's rankings in a few months with the additions that Pittsburgh has made and with the subtractions the Padres have made. They were ranked in the top 3 before and during the 2020 season, and they traded away a lot of prospects this winter. And yeah, I just want to circle back around and say that AJ Preller, you play the game so long, you win some, you lose some. This seems like an overpay. But we'll see how these guys all turn out, and we'll see what Joe Musgrove could do, because there has been some hype surrounding old Musgrove here and there, wherever. Let's go to Washington, where things are grim in the nation's capital, but not so much for their baseball team. No, the Nationals have been active this offseason. You'll love to see it. They've gotten Josh Bell via trade. They signed Kyle Schwarber. And now they're adding left-handed starting pitcher Jon Lester on a 1-year contract. He's going to make $5 million on this deal, but here's how it's structured. Okay, Lester's going to get a $2 million salary in 2021, and then the other $3 million is deferred to a salary bonus payable in 2023. Lots of strange caveats to the contracts being signed this winter, which is kind of fun, right? Well, as for Lester, he's a future Hall of Famer, no doubt, great resume, and I've had the privilege as a Cubs caster to watch him pitch a lot, both at his best and at his worst. Because over the past 2 years, Lester has looked like a mediocre pitcher, honestly, posting a mid-4s ERA and FIP. Hard contact has gone up, and so the Cubs bought him out for $10 million. Ooh, now, a chance for redemption in Washington, D.C., where he will join a staff that boasts Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg, and Patrick Corbin. Very strange to think of Lester as a number 4 starter, but that's where he is at these days. 37 years old. He's still durable. However, 170-plus innings pitched in 12 consecutive seasons before 2020. He had a little injury there with the Cubs, but he's been pretty sturdy, and he will join his former teammate Kyle Schwarber in the besieged, violated American capital. An appropriate move for the Nats. They needed a back-end arm, and they got him for relatively cheap, considering their payroll situation sits at $148 million, of which about $93 million is dedicated to their top 3 pitchers, Scherzer, Strasburg, and Corbin. And yeah, I mean, just in terms of like pedigree, like Lester, Scherzer, and Strasburg in the same rotation. I understand, as I just said, Lester's like not what he used to be, but that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's a lot of knowledge in that dugout. A lot of knowledge. Yeah, I guess good move for the Nationals. Let's go to Toronto, where there's a lot of news to talk about. The Blue Jays have inserted themselves into every single conversation this offseason without much to show for it. All they really did up to this point was re-sign Robbie Ray. But now they have a new player coming in, and guess who? It's right-handed pitcher Tyler Chatwood. Oh, yeah. 1 year, $3 million with $2.5 million in incentives. Chatwood, another former Cub, so again, my Cubs caster bias will come through here a little bit. Chatwood is expected to join the Blue Jays bullpen instead of the rotation, where the Jays are also looking to add a pitcher, and actually, that may be for the best. See, Chatty's 3-year stint with the Cubs was a roller coaster. From giving out bases for free in 2018, this guy had some of the worst command I've ever seen. Just flat out, this guy could not hit the strike zone if he had a gun to his head. To a bounce-back campaign in 2019 where he went from back-end starter to a long reliever and did fairly well in that role. And then a tough, short 2020 that ended with injury. He only made 5 starts as the Cubs' number 5 starter and then went down. Yeah. But as I said, he might be a good piece for the relief corps. Still, Chatwood is no stranger to the injured list, nor to walks, with a 9-year career walk rate of 11.8%. That's an average of 4.7 walks per 9 innings pitched. Bitter stuff. I do wish him the best, and I will continue to mock the Blue Jays for talking big and acting little on this winter's market, although that may be about to change. I'll get there in just a second, because sidebar, the signings of Chatwood and Lester, both on the same day, mean that the 2021 Cubs rotation will look very different, with Jose Quintana probably not returning. The number 4 and 5 spots are wide open in Chicago, and while I do expect former top prospect Adbert Alzolay to snag one of those, I have no idea who's going to be the number 5 starter in Chicago. Anyway, let's move on to the rumors, because the Toronto Blue Jays, yes, are nearing a deal with closer Kirby Yates. No deal is in place yet, and Yates certainly has offers from multiple teams, but as of this morning, that's where he's leaning to Toronto. If Yates does sign with the Jays, that would finally give them a signing worth the hype, and would fill the closer spot left vacant by Ken Giles, who missed most of 2020 to Tommy John surgery and is now a free agent. Toronto is also deep in on George Springer, as you probably know by now, but word is that their contingency option, if they don't get Springer, is Jackie Bradley Jr., which would be a blow to their division rivals, the Red Sox, who are trying hard to re-sign JBJ, even dangling Andrew Benintendi out there. As for why the Jays have struggled to sign people despite all their big talk, the mystery of where they will play in 2021 is a big factor. See, the Jays played 2020 home games in Buffalo because COVID restrictions regarding Canada to U.S. travel or vice versa are simply too much for a sports team with a packed schedule. You're not going to play a 3-game series and then go quarantine for 14 days just to play a home game in the Rogers Center. Come on. So I assume they're just going to play in Buffalo again next season, but I'm guessing they don't exactly know that for sure. And so when they talk to free agents, like, yeah, I don't know where you're going to be living next year. It's obviously a big con. Talking about Cubs pitchers moving on to new teams, well, another one is got plenty of pastures to choose from. I'm talking about reliever Jeremy Jeffress, who did great stuff out of the Cubs pen last year, was our best reliever, I would say. He reportedly has interest from 10 different teams, including some that I assume are actually trying to win, so there's no way Jeffress is coming back to Chicago. If you thought this month was bad for the Cubs as far as roster turnover goes, then you will be sad and perhaps disgusted to hear that Jared Porter, who was hired by the Mets to be their new GM just a month or so ago, has been fired. Because when he worked for the Cubs, this is several years ago, Porter sent dick pics to a female reporter. Gentlemen, don't do it. Like, I've heard both sides of the aisle. It never works. It never garners a positive reaction. Maybe if you're already in a relationship with a woman, you could send her dick pics. I don't know. I've never heard this succeeding. Jared Porter did not get the memo. Said Jared Porter there, and honestly, he sounds like a freaking coomer. Uh, so MLB's investigating this. There's going to be some questions. Oh, why did the Cubs not address this? Did they cover this up? Yeah, honestly, they get everything they deserve. Hey, Ricketts, you answer those fucking questions. I'm not doing shit. Man. All right, some news has emerged regarding the Cincinnati Reds trade talks. Apparently, when discussing their top pitcher Luis Castillo with the New York Yankees, the Reds asked for shortstop Gleyber Torres and then some in exchange, an appropriately high asking price for their budding ace, and an indication that I think the asking price on Castillo is just going to be too high to see him move. I don't think the Reds really want to move him, especially with the years of control he has left. It might be end up being like a rental trade, because you see like what the Indians got for Francisco Lindor when he had a year remaining on his contract. The Red Sox as well in exchange for Mookie Betts, and obviously those were much bigger trades than just those two big names I just mentioned. But if you want to understand why the Reds front offices said they're going to sell and then they haven't sold, it's because the value can change. Value can change. And players can change positions. And that might be the case with Marcus Semien, who has been asked by the Dodgers, I guess, to play third base if he comes over. So the Dodgers have been discussing a reunion with Justin Turner, but if that doesn't come through, then Marcus Semien could be added. That would be interesting. And as for the Philadelphia Phillies, they're not done adding relievers after signing Archie Bradley, as they shouldn't be. That was the worst bullpen in baseball 2020. Disgusting. So, just a quick wrap. Blue Jays are finally getting the ball rolling there. They're close to signing Kirby Yates. They signed Tyler Chatwood. The Washington Nationals got Jon Lester, and a huge 3-team trade that got Joe Musgrove to the Padres. And the Pirates got 5 prospects. Great deal for Pittsburgh. San Diego's just all in to win right now, right? Like, it almost doesn't matter to them. They're just saying we're all in. We just need to add a little caulking, right? Cover up the holes. And the back of the rotation was one of those questions. I'd say Joe Musgrove is an improvement over Joey Lucchesi. Don't get me wrong. I just think they gave up too much for a guy who's, at best, a number 3 starter. But hey, you know what? Joey, prove me wrong. And Stoveminders, stand on guard for me. You guys have been doing a great job. I don't even know who I'm referring to. There's 5 people who watch this program regularly, and I thank you from the bottom of my cold, dead heart.